Hello and welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries. Today I wanted to share a August update of my A5 Common Planner, and she is getting to be a chunky beast. Yeah. I ended up taking it out of the leather Sojourner cover that I had because I've had to flip the book on itself to write on the pages comfortably, and the leather cover kind of gets in the way with that. So I've just transitioned back into the clear cover, which is by Lauren Phelps Designs and Nib and Fleur. I don't know if you can even get these anymore. I haven't found a link to one in a while, but it is kind of hard to see with the glare. I do have lights on because it's kind of stormy outside, so just keep that in mind. I'll try to do my best with the glare. For the inner pieces of the book, I have not made any changes to the front pages. For the year at a glance, I've still been keeping up with my menstruation tracking, appointments, vacation, and dates. I've just been keeping everything kind of same color coded, nothing new here. For my index, I need to update it. Last time I updated it was in July, so note to self, Danielle, go back and update the index. But in the adulting log, I did end up adding in a little thing here at the bottom. So we cleaned our AC unit this summer, and I think we're going to start doing that every year. So I want to make sure to add this to my adulting log for next year, and I added in the date that we did it so I can have that as a reference. Haven't made any changes to my goal pages. For the quarterly pages, I've been keeping up with the way that I started in July when I did the One Book July challenge. I ended up doing weather tracking and then like a little bitty habit tracky side. I will say I was not very good about my health habits in August, which if you missed my health flip through, I will try to have that linked somewhere, but I talked all about like what happened with that. But I did do really good with my reading, so I was reading like almost every single day in August, which was really fun. For the left page here, I have my monthly intentions and then monthly review, and then I have my stats. So I ended up reading 5,291 pages from the books that I read. I read 13 books in August, which was just wild to me. But I had 0 workouts, 0 miles that I ran. I didn't run a single time, and I did eat out either with family or my boyfriend 13 times. So I have all of that information written down there. For my top memories in August, I wrote down that I read 13 books because that's honestly a pretty big deal for me. I don't think I've read that many in a month ever in my life. And then I also wrote down that I got to see a lot of extended family, primarily because I had to do my grandmother's funeral, which we'll get to that once we get to the daily pages. For the monthly section, this is what my monthly ended up looking like. I went back in to just do like a simple synopsis of the day. And then I wrote down the different times that either I was having people visiting, I was visiting, or my boyfriend was out of town. So I just have all that kind of denoted in a simple monthly fashion. And then I didn't really get to check off as many of my monthly to-do list items that I wanted. And I also didn't really keep track of my weight with my weight by week kind of tracker here. But that's okay. It's totally okay. For the weekly section, this is where my weekly started. I love this. I went back to doing more of an, like, I guess, hourly or time scheduled layout versus the, versus like the dashboard style that I was doing. I still love the dashboard, and I may like just flip back and forth between this, but the hourly was working really great for me in terms of just kind of seeing like what I needed to do at what time, and going back to this was really nice. Plus I got to use more of my stickers, which is always really fun. But the first week of August, or the first few days of August, was rough because that is when my grandmother's funeral was. She passed away in July, and we had to do a family trip to Austin to go to her funeral, and I had to speak at her funeral, and it was like a whole ordeal, and it was tough. It's still tough. I still don't like to think about it, but it happened, and it's documented, and I'm happy about that. The second week of July, I was really just kind of out of it. I think I talked about this in my health video. I was just kind of blah. I think I was just coming down from all of the emotions from everything going on. So I just did some journal entries on this day versus doing any kind of planning. I don't even know what happened this week, honestly. This week is kind of a blur. The deco on this page, though, or these pages, are some of my favorites. These are from London Gifties, the girl and like the books and stuff. And then the other two washi tapes in the background are from Notebook Therapy. And I don't know, there's just something about this like purple and black vibe that I love. This ink is 𝗪𝗃, by the way, which is now discontinued, which just breaks my heart. But we move on. Okay, this was the third week of August. I ended up using the Coffee Monsters Co. Little Sprouts washi tape, and it's so cute. I love the little faces. They're so adorable. I don't remember which Tombow marker I used, but I used a Tombow marker to kind of highlight some other sections too, just to add little pops of color. And then the little stickers here at the top, like the gym stickers, the shoe stickers, and then the chicken stickers are all from my shop. And then this duck sticker with a bathtub is from my shop as well, and I just wrote in a pen everything shower on it. And then I used these little Instagram icons from the Coffee Monsters Co. to denote when I was trying to post on Instagram, which I actually haven't been posting on Instagram lately. I've just been kind of not in the mood. Yeah. Then this was the second to last week of August. I planned the first half, and then I pre-planned and then fell off and didn't plan the rest of the week, which is fine. I think I was just not in the mood. I just was not in the mood. But I do like this kind of like purple and pink vibe that was going here. This is really cute. This was the last week of August. I decided to keep it really simple, really neutral, really plain. And I like this, but I think I like the color a little bit better, but I think I'm a color person at heart. But I used the little tiny icons from the Coffee Monsters Co. this week, and it was really fun because it's very simple, very neat. It's the little like TikTok thing is like very demure, very cutesy. Like, I don't know. It's so stupid. But this was also the week of the Hobonichi release. And like, I have a whole story that we'll get to with that once we get again to the daily pages. But this is what my weeklies ended up looking like. For the notes pages, before I get to the daily pages, we only really went on one date technically in August. We went to Uncle Julio's, and I think I talked a little bit about that in another video, but maybe I'll talk about it again. And then for my reading tracker, because I read 13 books in August, I ended up having to make a part 3 reading tracker, which I was not expecting to even make a part 2 this year. So having a part 3 is just wild to me. But August, I ended up using this kind of like purple, like dusty purple color. And I read so many books. I read House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, which was emotional. Not like I was coming off of my Throne of Glass reading marathon. Like I'd finished all the Throne of Glass books, and I was just devastated and like coming down from the high of reading those books. And so I was like, okay, I'll just continue with Sarah J. Maas because I need something that's going to compare to that level, right? And like, so the same author I would hope would give me something similar, and she did. That book was phenomenal. I didn't finish the series yet. I might read the second book in August. I don't know yet, but I also read almost all of the A Touch of Darkness books by Scarlett Sinclair. I think it's Hades and Persephone series, and those books were really good. I was really surprised at how well she built the world of like the underworld and stuff with Hades and Persephone, and she did a really good job of like plot. Like I was really happy with those books. I also read Twisted Love by Anna Huang. This was okay. It was, I don't know, I feel like there was a lot of missing pieces to the book. Like there could have been so much better development between like the characters and the world. It was okay. And then I read all of the Wicked series by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which are the first books that I read from her. And I enjoyed her writing style. It was pretty funny. It was pretty witty. And I'm hoping that her other books are like that, because I have been wanting to read the Blood and Ash series that she's got going on. But I don't know when I'm going to read that. But it's officially on my to be read list, I guess. And I read Reckless by Lauren Roberts, the second book in the Powerless series, and I was unimpressed until the end, we'll say, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I also ended up reading The Coven and the Cursed by Harper L. Woods, and oh my god, those books were dark. Oh my god, they were dark. I was like scared and joyous at the same time. That was an experience. I definitely want to read some more books by her too, because her writing style is just gripping. Like it sucks you in. And then I also started the Crave series by Tracy Wolff. It was nice. It was light. It was YA. I think I read it in like a day. It was really fun. I don't know if I'll continue that series, but it was a fun read. Okay, so now let's get into the daily pages of August. So this was my August cover page. I don't think I did a currently inked, because I was mainly using the leftover inks I had from my July 30 inks 30 days. So I had a few pens inked up, and I just wrote down what those were here. And then the first day of August was Lunasta, or Lammas, which is one of the Sabbats. It's all about the harvest and making bread and enjoying the fruits of your labor and all that kind of good stuff. So I didn't make bread, but I ate bread, and it was really yummy. And then on the 2nd, this was Friday. So this was the day before my grandmother's funeral. So I spent this day with my family. We went to this Mexican restaurant called Oaxaca, and I had these brisket flautas, and they were amazing. Oh my gosh, they were so amazing. And my brother ended up ordering this drink called a rum chata, and I tried it, and it didn't even taste like alcohol. So I would consider this a dangerous drink, because you could probably just drink the whole thing and not even realize that you just drank alcohol. But yeah, I was also writing down the different 𝗬𝗂𝗁𝐵𝐵 preview things. So as August came around, 𝗬𝗂𝗁𝐵𝐵 does their 30 day preview of what they have coming to their website for the 𝗬𝗁𝐵𝐵 season. And I was really enjoying just kind of writing down a little bitty synopsis of what was available of the 𝗬𝗂𝗁𝐵𝐵 preview when I could. On the 3rd was the day that we buried my grandmother, so I made a little journal entry about the trip and what I had to say at the funeral, and also that I got to see a lot of my extended family that I don't really get to see very often because we're kind of spread out. So it was an emotional day, to say the least. She's my last grandparent, and it was tough, but I guess I'm happy she's at peace. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, then on the 4th, this was the day that I think I totaled out everything for July, because I wrote down all of the eggs. And then I also slept a lot this day too. We ended up sleeping on the floor. I don't remember why, but we ended up sleeping on the floor for some reason, and I slept like for I think 10 or 12 hours that day. Anyways, I also ended up making this bell pepper recipe, stuffed bell peppers, and they were really good, but I want to add more seasoning to the bell pepper themselves, because like, when you eat the stuffed bell pepper, if you've ever had one, like the stuffing is always really, really good, but the pepper's kind of like, eh. So I really want to go back to this recipe and maybe alter it a little bit. Also, I'm going to flip the book on itself because it's going to be hard to see some of this page here. And this is also why I took it out of the leather cover, so we can make it a little bit easier to write on it. And the Common Planner binding has been holding up fantastic. So starting on Monday the 5th, this is kind of like when my month started turning a little bit better, but I was still really struggling. I got my TCMC, or Coffee Monsters Co. June pre-order. So I got all of the washi tapes that I ordered, and I made this little flip out so I could swatch all of them and still journal about whatever. So I guess this was my 2025 planner brained up, and I think I just was having thoughts of like, what do I actually need versus what I want. And this is on day 5 of the 𝗬𝗁𝐵𝐵 preview, so I'm sure it had something to do with whatever happened on the 𝗬𝗃𝗁 preview that I was just like, I need it, right? Like, but I didn't actually need it, right? And then I also wrote down a little entry here on the back of this page because I am running out of washi tape storage again. So I'm trying to decide if I want to sell some of my extra rolls of like Coffee Monster's tape, or if I want to just go ahead and purchase another storage unit for, not storage like unit, right? Like not like a big unit, like another storage drawer of washi tapes, or 4 washi tapes. I haven't really decided yet. For the 6th, my boyfriend went and got conchas for us, and I ended up trying to draw a concha from scratch, and it just looks awful. But the conchas are really good. Yeah, this just looks terrible. And then on Wednesday, this is when the 𝗬𝗃𝗁𝗁 Colors was released, and I freaked out because they had so many, like, all of the color stuff from the 𝗬𝗃𝗁 launch was beautiful. The banana pudding, or not the banana pudding, the caramel pudding, the olive grove, the pistachio weeks, the dark gray weeks, the lemon water weeks. I was obsessed with the color palette they came out with for the colors this year. I was really, really happy. So I've just did a few doodles of the weeks that I thought were really nice. Thursday looks like I didn't have time to write, so I just did a little I tried my best sticker from the Coffee Monsters Co. And then Friday I had me time with some wine and anime, and I ended up watching My Happy Marriage anime on Netflix, and it was really cute. It was like action and romance, and there was like kind of a thriller a bit to it too. It was really nice, but I had a nice night just hanging out with myself, I guess. Saturday I just did an entry, and then Sunday I did as well. I think I was struggling a lot with mental health at this time, and I know that's reflected really strongly in my health planner. Again, I already did that flip through if you want to go check it out, but I was doing a lot of, yeah, just like journaling of my feelings on these days. Okay, and this is when I did my 2025 planner plans video. I can try to link this as well. I did a mind map of all of these questions I was asking myself for each section of my life that I want to plan. So personal catch-all, health, gratitude, astrology, work, and garden. Those are like the main buckets of my life that I like to have separate books for. And so I was kind of writing down like, okay, what do I need? What size? Do I need structure, flexibility? How much do I want to spend? Do I have an idea of which planner I want to use for this? And so on and so forth. And I will say by the time of this video, I think I have officially ordered everything that I need for 2025, which is crazy considering it's September. But I'm usually ready to go by September 1st because of 𝗬𝗁𝗁. Anyways, but yeah, this was my 2025 planner plans. Then the next week I ended up doing the timeline washi again from Sterling Ink to try to test out how I wanted to do my daily pages back when I move out of this book, because I'm not going to be doing a Sterling Ink for 2025. So I just did kind of like a little timeline and then my affirmations, prayers, and tasks. But I think I did it one day and that was it. For Tuesday, I didn't end up journaling, it seems. I ended up making the spicy TikTok cucumbers. So if you have a TikTok or you've seen the cucumber guy where he makes a whole cucumber and adds a bunch of seasonings to this little jar and shakes it up and eats them, I made a version of his cucumbers and they were amazing. And I can totally see how he eats a whole cucumber like that all the time because they were so good. Like, even thinking about this right now, my mouth's watering. Geez. Okay. Then on Wednesday, I ended up, I was obsessed with egg salad. So I think I talked about this maybe in my garden flip through video, my garden planner. We got so many eggs. We got over 150 eggs for July, and then in August we got over 260 eggs. So I'm trying to find ways to use eggs, like besides just omelets and like feeding them to our dogs. So I ended up making egg salad and I became obsessed. Like I was having egg salad like every single day. I don't know what it was about it. I don't know if it was like a texture thing or what, but I was really obsessed. Like egg salad with some crackers. It was just so good. yeah, and then on this day is when I think I finished or started reading The House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, and I wrote a little blurb about that. And then I also did some research on chakras, which is kind of correlating to me, like my astrology and spiritual practice. And so I wrote down, there's actually different sayings for each chakra, which I think is really cool. So I wanted to make sure I wrote those down in kind of an example of what I could say for those. Okay, this was the day that we went to Uncle Julio's, which I think I talked about, yeah, I think I talked about this in another video, but I got drunk at Uncle Julio's off of one margarita, and we had to sit there for 20 minutes before I could leave. It was pretty funny. And then the next day, I ended up having girl dinner. So this was the weekend that my boyfriend went out of town, so I was alone, and I ended up having just Lucky Charms, wine, and chicken nuggets, it seems, for dinner because I didn't want to cook an actual meal. And then I also started reading, or I finished reading Bride by 𝗬𝗏 Hazelwood, which was okay. It was a little weird, and I don't really like the diction she used. She used a lot of words that were overcomplicated and unnecessary, and that's just me. Like, if I have to look up a word every few minutes in a fantasy book, I don't think that's kind of right for that niche. Like, if it's nonfiction or a book about history or research or something, yes. But in a fantasy book, I don't want to have to be stopping every few minutes to look up a word that you used that means the same thing as a simpler word. Anyways, Sunday I just did a journal entry. These are from London Gifties, and these star stickers are from Amazon. Pretty sure it's Amazon. And then the full moon was on the 19th, and I just did a little entry about the full moon here. I was having a lot of anxiety, and I don't know if it was because I was, like, I had to go pick up my boyfriend from the airport or what was going on, but I was having a lot of anxiety that day. And then my period started on the 20th, and I was grampy. So if you've ever been, like, grumpy and crampy, this is the word I've come up with. It's grampy. So I made a little entry about that. This was also the day we cleaned our air conditioning unit. Okay, and then I guess on Wednesday I had a bread obsession. Okay, yeah, I love bread. I'm craving carbs so bad. So I just took all these cute little bread stickers from Sticky Club and stuck those down as well. Okay, Thursday, this was a lot of prep for my release that I did on Friday, so I didn't really spend any time in this book. I was mainly just doing all of my prep for the release. And then Friday, I had my sticker release, which had all of the tabs, the new tabs that I came out with for 2025, the 2025 vinyls. I think I made a whole video about everything that came out on this day. But we also ended up getting Indian food on Friday from one of our favorite restaurants called Hot and Spicy. It's a bit of a drive for us, but we got some really good food from them. And I like to get the paneer masala. It's like my favorite. And then, yeah, this was like a really busy day. Okay, so I also started a show on Netflix called 𝗬𝗃_cy of witches, and it was pretty good. I was really loving, like, the world behind it, because it was like they took the book, which is what it's based off of, and actually made a decent show with how the world is in those books. And then this was also the day that the 𝗤𝗏𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 reveal happened. It was so exciting. They had the full website go up, and I immediately started stalking of maybe what I wanted to add to my wish list. It was, yes. And then I think, yep, I made a whole page of what I loved the most and what I wanted to get. Obviously, the 𝗤𝗏𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 cousin and the 𝗤𝗏𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 Techo were going to be on my list because I talked about it in the 2025 plans. And I do want to stick with the classic books because I tried a hone this year and I was not in love with it. Like, it was fine, same layout and everything, but I think I just prefer the like floppy, bendier book a little bit better. And then the Pistachio Weeks was the one that I think I wanted to pick the most out of the megas, although they did come out with bow and tie megas this year, and I was so thrilled, so thrilled. I just didn't love any of the covers enough to really reach for those. But they also had Through the Purple Night 𝗤𝗏𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 Weeks, which I think is sold out by the time this video goes up. I hope they restock it, but it was just whimsical and beautiful and purple, and it had animals and nature and just yes. And then on Saturday, I think I was still obsessed. So I just wrote a little synopsis of like, I'm still reeling from the 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃 reveal. Yeah, sounds about right. This day, I think I was struggling a lot, and I ate a lot of Lucky Charms because I know I want to decorate because I ate a lot of Lucky Charms this day. But I ended up covering up the entry because it's personal. And then same thing for Monday, I was still really struggling, and I wanted to take this little note from one of the Coffee Monsters Co. pads that I had, and I just wrote, all will be okay, because that is the truth. In the end, all will be okay. Tuesday, the 27th, I apparently wrote an ode to burgers. I think I was really enjoying just having burgers. And I used some of my burger and fry stickers for my shop. Yeah. And then Wednesday, this was the day that I did a lot of different snake doodles and a lot of different research on like snake positions, because I'm making a collection of stuff for the Year of the Snake, which is 2025, which hopefully will release this month. But I was just really enjoying drawing snakes, and I wrote serious business, and I don't know, it makes me giggle. Maybe I'll make that into a sticker too. I don't know. But I just wrote a little blurb about that. And then on the 29th, this day, okay, so I have broken my addiction to coffee, which I think I talked about in another video, but I haven't had coffee in a long time. And I had my first Dutch Bros drink in probably over a month, if not 2 months. And it was a tea. It was a cookie butter chai tea. And it was so good. But the second I started drinking it, I got this awful migraine, like this awful headache. And I don't know if it was just the increase in caffeine or the increase in sugar and caffeine combined. But after I drank that drink, I just had a migraine for the rest of the day, and I was like down and out. And then at dinner time, my boyfriend ended up making us steak and potatoes, and it helped a lot. So maybe it was just that it sat on my stomach or something, but I really struggled after that Dutch Bros. But I got a cool sticker from Dutch Bros, which was, that makes it better, right? That makes it totally better. And then the 30th, this was the day before the 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃 opening. The 31st is when 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃 opened. So I think I was just kind of writing a little bit about that from what I can see. And then I was still recovering from my awful migraine that I had on Thursday. And then we have the 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃 reveal. Okay, so I'll chat a little bit about this. So this was my list of things that I wanted to order, and I was very patient. I figured if something sold out, I would be fine. Like, you can get it later, whatever. But when I went to place my order, like many of the others who were buying direct from 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃, I got hit with the server issues, and I got hit with the cart emptying. So I was trying to order for like 3 hours, and I'm pretty sure my cart emptied at least 10 times. I was really struggling. I was trying to stay calm. Even my boyfriend tried to help me out. We tried to get onto multiple computers to try to check out, seeing maybe it was just my computer. It was kind of stressful. I tried to just think of it as like, you know what, if it's meant to be, it will be. And it did end up being. I got what I wanted. It just was a test of my patience, really. And I think it was really more of a reflection on myself. Like, if I'm gonna be upset with this, what does that say about me? Like, I guess I was thinking of it very selfishly versus like thinking like, why 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃, why? But I do want to say that I think 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃 handled what happened very beautifully. Like, they apologized, they tried their best to fix it as best they could. I mean, this release was on a Sunday, which is typically a day off for many people, so I can imagine that their release was not as, I don't want to say well staffed, but I can imagine that they didn't have as many people as they probably would on a day-to-day basis. But I'm glad that they got everything resolved, and that there was plenty of stock for everybody, and it ended up being okay. It's just the server issues caused, I think, a lot of trauma for a lot of people ordering direct from 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃. And I don't want to say that is a reflection of the brand. I know that the owner came out and apologized and said that they had prepared for, you know, an extra amount of people coming into their website on that day, but even though they prepared for that, it was even more than what they prepared for, which I think is great. I think the brand is growing for them, and I think that's a really great sign that they have a product that is in demand. And I think that they will take into consideration everything that happened for years to come and try to make it a smoother experience for those in the future. But yeah, all I have to say, I did 2 pages of journaling about it because I was just, yeah, it was an experience, and that's that. Yeah, I think that is it for August. I am going to be doing a 30 inks 30 days challenge again in September. I talked about this in my Facebook group, which is private, but I'm going to be doing all Birmingham Pen Company inks. So if you're interested in the Birmingham Pen Company inks, I will have another video, I think, going up tomorrow. I don't know. In the coming days, there will be a video about the first few days of my Birmingham Pen Company inks that I've used for September, because I really want to share them with you guys because I am obsessed with that brand of inks. Anyways, I want to thank you so much for watching, for joining me today, for hanging out while I flip through my month of August, which was a bit tough, but I'm glad it's documented. But yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great transition into the fall months. And I also hope to see you guys in the next one.